So I'm Steve Ricossa, the executive producer of Star Trek Online. So Star Trek Online is a free-to-play MMO that takes place in the year 2409. It's about 30 years after Nemesis, and it's episode-based. So you go through and adventure with your crew while flying your ship through a variety of different enemies and locations throughout the Star Trek universe. So the game is played in two different settings. You have space combat, where you're flying your starship directly, firing its phasers, taking out enemies, tractor beams, all sorts of exciting powers. And then you beam down on the ground, where you're in command of an away team of 4 people. And you could be scanning, you could be walking around and investigating a different facility, and then, of course, fighting enemies. So it's a full space and ground game. You have social zones you can go to, like our Space Dock, Deep Space Nine, Drozana Station, and then you also have fleet socialization. So on the PC version, you have a fleet system where you progress and build your own starbase and build your own, dilithium mine and all these different locations. And that'll be coming to console soon. But that's a spot where you and your friends can hang out, and it's just for you. So we've had a variety of actors in the game. We've had people from Denise Crosby, who played Tasha Yar and Sela. We've had Jerry Ryan, who played 7 of 9. We've had Michael Dorn, who played Worf. We've had Harry Kim and Tuvok and Neelix. We've had Tom Paris. We've had Walter Koenig reprise his role as Chekhov. We had Chris Doohan play his father's role for Scotty. And they all come into specific episodes, and they're just not there to say something to you and then leave. They're part of the story, and they're interacting with you, and they get to know you, and they like, oh, I remember you from this mission. It's a very exciting experience when a new celebrity comes into the game. And the story spans quite a distance, because we've been live for 6.5 years. So it begins with the Klingon and Federation war, and after a number of years that actually ends, and then the Romulans get mixed into the fold as we have a Romulan playable faction. We've had an underlying story of these Iconians, who are big bads, who are kind of puppet masters behind everything. We have old enemies re-emerging. We've had new enemies show up, and it's just a constant serialized story that feels like you're watching a season of Star Trek. It's very exciting. So something that separates us is, of course, the Star Trek license, being officially licensed Star Trek product, having all the actors from the show. We've had 15 actors from the show in the game, and our fantastic space combat is something that really draws players into the game. And last but certainly not least is our free-to-play model. The game is free to download, free to play, no subscription. All of our content updates are free. This is actually a free-to-play game. So one of the biggest challenges of pulling together a Star Trek game is making sure that it's respectful to the IP. And so we like to do that by ensuring that we're using stories that are from the show and using actors from the show, because we want to make sure that the fans understand that we're fans of the franchise too. And I feel like they've seen that in all of our updates. So something that you should feel like you're experiencing when you're playing Star Trek Online is you should feel like the captain of your own ship and in charge of your own crew. You're going on these amazing adventures. We have over 125 episodes that you'll be playing through. You're going to get to know your bridge officers. You're going to get to know the guys that you're playing with. And you should just feel like you're traveling through Star Trek as a captain of a starship. And that's the number one thing we're trying to capture. And I feel like that's something that everyone feels when they play the game.